going to be a video about the moon, the moon cycles, specifically about the north node, south node axis that we are on. We're still in the first month of that changeover, but we're heading, you could say we have another 17-ish months with the axes of the moon being in Taurus, north node, and Scorpio, south node, which I'm particularly keen to learn about because that's my birth chart placement. And I've read a lot about it in terms of my birth chart, like a natal chart and stuff, though I've not yet fully experienced like following the moon cycles on a regular basis. But the last 24 months have taken me through learning so much about them that it's an easy segue into it. Like I already have all the cooperative components to know things about it. You know what I mean? It's then that makes it fun to learn all the things that come in. But that being said, I do know some things. And I've been doing my research and feeling out what other people think. And it's funny because I wanted to do this video, but there was also, I'm still not even fully sure. I'm actually over on, I'm in Oak Harbor. Because it felt like there was something that, I don't know, either that I needed to revisit or ask for or let go of or something along those lines. And I've been putting it off because I realized I was afraid to drive up and down Deception Pass again because there's like a lot of, I guess growing up there was a lot of like rumors about it being scary and all this other stuff, and like, and then we had the Explorer that like the transmission went out on Deception Pass too, and I was like, maybe I just need to go release my fears about that. Like, I could do this. I'm in a different car. Like, it's not perfect, so it was one of those facing my fears sort of thing. But that made me realize too, like, so the nodes of the moon in astrology, they typically illustrate our karmic path. They say that in a natal chart, your south node is where you came from in your last lifetime, and your north node is your next, your most likely next karmic incarnation. But it's also like your south node are those things that you tend to lean back into. They're neither good nor bad per se, but in this lifetime, like if you lean into them, you don't learn anything. You know what I mean? You don't grow. You don't like the presumption would be that if you lean into your south node stuff, that you stay going through most of the similar cycles. You go very slow, and then you would reincarnate with the same north node, south node. Now, when I've looked up Taurus north node and with the Scorpio south node, it's always a polar opposite. It's like what you see in the face of the moon, the other sign is the polar opposite's always the other side. And so it's funny because when I learned about that aspect of my chart, I learned a couple of things. One, a Taurus north node placement in a natal chart is about like, it's about material gain. It's about the 3D. It's about abundance. It's Empress energy too. It's funny. It's very much the placement of Divine Feminine because the Empress card is Taurus placement, and it's like getting into that feminine receptivity, but it's like earthy and doing stuff like that. And the funny thing is like Scorpio a south node placement. Like, well, I mean, in either one. I've learned to be cautious around people that if I look at their chart and they have Scorpio north node and Taurus south node, because they typically are learning lessons that have to do with the darkness and the shadow and things like that. And I don't avoid that, but they typically are very wrapped up into things that I just don't like. Either I've learned those lessons or I don't want to do. I want to do that stuff. But so a Scorpio south node typically means that you came from that place, like where you learned about power dynamics and dominance and submission and taboos and magic and lust and sex and things like that. And then you move like, so those are the things that those are that becomes like the conditioning that you come in with in this lifetime. Deception, secretiveness, magic, things like that. And like there's good and bad to it, like that surgical ability to hit the truth, to intuit things, to be able to like get up, because it's very Mars energy. So like to use your righteous indignation to propel you towards bigger things, you know. But it's also that side of us that like Scorpio really does like rule the shadow. Pisces rules a lot of shadow too, but Scorpio really rules the shadow. And like especially being connected to Pluto, like those dark places within ourselves. And when you get into that as a south node going into Taurus as a north node as a in a natal chart, what it shows is like you've done that in past lifetimes and you're facing some of that karma in this lifetime. Though you will move through it if you lean into the Taurus side of things, like not fighting things so much, not trying to control things so much, and self love. Like, this is a huge, huge thing. Like, it's about self love and receptivity and allowing the things that you would like to come towards you. But not just that. Like, that Taurus energy is very much about believing that you are deserving of it and working on your shadows with conceit. Like, getting to that place. But the funny thing that always, like, threw me off because I'm a Capricorn, and then also Taurus is stubborn, self reliant energy too, is that a Taurus North Node means that your success is based on either other people's ideas or things that people give to you. And it's funny because like I mean my conditioning growing up, and it makes sense with a Scorpio South node, was like you don't rely on anyone. You don't accept charity. You give, you just give, and then you bitch about it to everybody else, and then you manipulate and control and do all that weird little shit. But you definitely don't like seek support or charity. You don't accept it even if people are giving it. A lesson that I definitely learned. I'm like, no, I would love your help. Thank you for helping. Like I would be super freaking grateful for help. Like, you know, because we are all connected. And the funny thing is that is a very Taurus lesson too, because Taurus is the bull and a bull is a part of a herd, right? And we humans often talk about too being like a herd, right? And the really funny thing is it's like the Empress, she sits alone in the card, but she is not alone. She is the mother. She is the space that all life flows from and to. Like it's cyclical, you know what I mean? And so a lot of those same energies are they're playing out for us collectively. Like we're in a space to where it's like if you try to hide in the shadows, like, you know, you're that's what's going to be the focus of these next I'm just going to say 18 months because we're still in that 18th month. Like if you don't if you're not willing to look at your shadows, if you don't always have to talk about them. Like you don't have to explain everything that you're about to every single person. You don't have to sit down every single day and be like, what shadows do I need to work on? But if something comes up like often enough and like you just put it under the rug, or you delay, or you hesitate, or you try to be deceptive about various different things, like that's going to be the highlight of your learning. Because a lot of that, when Scorpio is in the south node placement, it's about it's like think of like a card when it's reversed, right? Or like a Scorpio typically is attached to the death card, which is usually about ego deaths and things like that, like allowing yourself to transform, allowing yourself to grow as an individual, phoenix moment, stuff like that. And if it's in reverse, it's like that, it's like a delayed process of it, like it's still happening but it's slower, it's like a slow burn. It's like instead of just ripping the band-aid off, you're just like pulling it as each hair gets yanked out, you know what I mean? Like, or trying to like wax your leg and you're just like slowly doing it because you don't want to feel the pain. Like, just rip that sucker off, you know what I mean? um which isn't always the answer, but it's definitely when when you got Scorpio in the South Node, like the longer you take to face a shadow of yours, whatever it is, the more it kind of festers. You know what I mean? And so you really want to look at like, where am I projecting things? Where am I? Scorpio is very much about psychology. A lot of people don't see that in there. Really look it up. It very much is. And like look at, where are you projecting, where are you manifesting things through fear, because Scorpio is all about magic and manifestation too, and so is Taurus, but like Scorpio most definitely. And especially when it comes to where what are you manifesting when it comes to the relationships you have behind closed doors and in bedrooms, because Scorpio rules the 8th house, which is like the bedroom in a house. And Taurus itself, it's funny, I usually liken it to the closet because it's about materialisms and like that would like even in excess sometimes, and so that's often where we'll stick the things that we don't have places for them in other spaces. But really, Taurus is the house. So that's how most other astrologers look at it. Taurus is that it's the structure, it's the manifestation of the thing that you want, it's the castle, it's things of that nature. And so like there's going to be a lot of patterns and a lot of things. And I think after I do this talk, I might pull I have a new deck, the Alice in Wonderland Oracle that I want to, I've been looking for excuses to use. So I might pull a card for each sign. It's Oracle cards, not tarot cards, but it might be fun after this. Um, but what we're looking at that is like, okay, so in the shadows, we have Scorpio. So we have the bedroom, we have intimacy, and not intimacy per like Libra intimacy, like not seventh house stuff, but it is like Scorpio and Libra are so tied in together in the houses. There's a lot of Venn diagram stuff in there because obviously anybody that you would be in like a commitment with and be intimate with is going to likely be somebody that you are also in the bedroom with. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. There might be other people that you have emotional relationships with, and that can still play a part in that because Scorpio has so much to do with intimacy and like the psychology of where we feel shame and guilt and things of that nature, and like our individual shadows. It's also like because it's Taurus Scorpio, it's like the shadow of the mother, and like the things that we got from our mothers, good and bad, and how that affects our relationships. And like, you know, are we getting with people because we're trying to avoid things that we experienced our mother doing or not doing or things like that? Are we afraid of intimacy because of things that happened, like that we witnessed growing up from that had to do with our mothers, or if your mother wasn't there, like that sort of thing? And then the positive aspects of the mother, because Taurus, you know, Empress, mother, hello, most of the time the card, she's pregnant, right? And so it's like this, it's the shadow and the light of the mother, and there's a lot of feminine energy in there. And because it's the house and the bedroom, there's going to be a big focus on that. I was actually kind of laughing yesterday because I was thinking to do this yesterday, but I felt like there was more information, more clarity to seek, more, a little more meditation to do. And I was thinking about it going, you know what, I am so grateful right now that like my circle is pretty small, that I chose to work on myself and not to be in relationships over the last couple of years, to really look at myself, look at my shadows, own my BS, grow, look for what I'm grateful for, where my joys are, where my energy is, and things like that. And that I have really, like, I have healthy boundaries at this point. They're not like overly rigid, but I allow myself to have standards. You know what? Ladies have rules and standards and stuff like that. So do gentlemen. Um, a healthy person does. I'm going to say that because I want to be gender neutral. Is like a healthy person has reasonable boundaries. They're not too rigid. They're not too flexible. And in each different situation, you can move through them. And like, I also worked on being in a space where I'm not trying to always mute my anger. My goal is to be able to communicate when I am feeling any emotion in a healthy, kind way, which sometimes requires letting out all the crap that you had held in there, but like, still, like you're to get to that goal is good. And I feel like that's kind of what a lot of people are going to be learning this year, because both Taurus and Scorpio in unevolved energy typically have very big challenges with their tempers. And so, like, we could see collectively this is going to line up with the eclipses and the full moons and the new moons. There's a lot more to it, but this definitely lines up with that stuff. And so you're probably going to see, like, even when there are other themes going on with the moons, that this is kind of an overarching or underarching, maybe both, theme that goes on with all of them. Like, the thing, like, Scorpio is very much, like, it's funny because I say Taurus is the closet, but Scorpio is it's like the skeleton in the closet, which is funny because, like, if Taurus is the house and Scorpio is the bedroom, so the bedroom in the house and the skeleton in the closet, like, those things can butt up with each other. And if you and both of those signs also have to do with power dynamics and control and self-control, control by others, like individual control, collective control, things like that. And we're already, just in putting together my calendar for 2022 and a little bit of 2023 in terms of astrology, there's plenty of interactions that are going to be going on with Pluto also, which is, that's Hades, and that's it's Scorpio's ruler, but it's also like, if you think about it, like all that stuff that you didn't want people to know about, or like, I don't know, I'm in a place where it's like, what, like I've already told everybody everything there is to know about me, but if they want to talk about more, like, I'm happy to talk about it. Like, to me, it's a part of being human. You know what I mean? Nobody is perfect. And also, what is that meme like? You can try to talk about past me, but it's kind of like going to a home that I moved out of. I ain't there anymore. Like, it makes a difference. And it makes me feel really, really grateful that, like, even though we're still, transitioning in terms of housing and stuff like that, and there's still likely some well, I don't know. My tarot reader says that if I could stay in a good vibration and just keep working on my Queen of Wandsing, that I could pretty much stay like out of the dimension where anybody that's trying to do anything like swordsy, they could do it over there. Like, it's not even necessarily about avoiding them. It's about following my joy. And what I love about that is the alignment of my natal chart with the current, like, transits going on with the moons and stuff, is like, okay, so like this is here to learn this stuff and to learn to work with the collective, to learn more mother stuff, to heal more mother stuff, and to learn more about magic and I'm going to say, like, the strange, beautiful absurdity of humans. I've always been fascinated by humans. That's the funny thing. And, like, even in our shadowy bits, even when I don't like what people are, like, specifically picking to me, there's always a part of my brain. It's probably because I have an Aquarius midhaven to where I'm like, it fascinates me that you put that much energy into it. Like all the karmics, especially from my DM side, that were like stalking and watching me over the last couple of years and copying me. It's like, isn't that fascinating? Like, you tell people that you don't like me for a whole myriad of reasons, but then you're copying me and following me and putting a whole lot of energy into observing what I'm doing. Like, why? And then it helps me examine my own stuff, like vice versa, because I there's always a reflection in there, even if it's not one to one, or it's not like maybe you're doing it 20% but they're doing it 80%. Like, it's not always one on one, but I get to learn a lot about myself through what I learn about other people. And Taurus is very much about that too, like learning the thing that you need for the next bit. And it's also very Abraham Hicks energy. It's funny, like, I don't think a lot of people see that, but it is. It's that manifesting it. Like, you see that she's sitting in her throne in the middle of a field. I'd assume on a farm somewhere. It makes me feel good. And Taurus is definitely about farming. Like, it's definitely fits in with that energy. And I'm laughing because I finally, like, I had been searching in some different groups to look for farm type jobs because, like, one, I feel very called towards it, and and two, I'm laughing. Like, YouTube put some Capricorn videos, like things about Capricorn that you like, and Capricorn superpowers, stuff like that. One of them was the best jobs for Capricorn, and I laughed because guess what the number one, like, really good job for Capricorn is? Farming, right? And number two is teaching. So I was like, see, maybe that's perfect. Like, I could do my teaching on here, I could do my farming, and I've been like, my goal for the last like well, probably more than 5 years, but I really started talking about it and getting my DM and my kids into helping manifest it, was our homestead, our 100-acre woods. It doesn't have to be 100 acres, but that's like what we call it. And so, like, to be in this space now, Taurus North Node, and like moving towards farming in that, and then like seeing the collective interactions going on. And like, Taurus is also ruler of the second house, which has to do with careers. So there's going to be a lot of themes that have to do with how we make money, how we spend money in the community. On its shadow side, unevolved side, it deals with like things like hoarding and misspending money and overindulgence and things like that. And even like, think of the Empress card in reverse, like that diva attitude, that like trying to rule with an iron fist rather than just allowing things to, just having faith and allowing things to fold in. And within that Empress energy is always that High Priestess energy too. Like, you in order to get to one, you have to go through the other. And so there will probably be a fair amount of dynamics of each, you know? And think about that, the Empress card and the Death card, right? It's like divine feminine versus ego. Like, you know, and will you be like, you know, there's going to be a lot of shadow storms. I realized that. Like we kicked them off in I want to say September, October. Well, so let's see, September, October. Yeah, so in September of last year. And now we're gonna see different ones, and not all of them are gonna be nearly as big as that one, but there will like it'll definitely be it'll be a ride. And it was funny, one of my guides is saying, like, for some of you, I will be your tour guide. Your exits are here, 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 and here. But it's much better if you don't exit, if you just stay on board and don't fear being made to walk the plank. You can swim, you can get back on a boat, you can get another boat. Like if circumstances change because we're dealing with the material. Actually, you know what's funny? Think about it. Taurus and Scorpio is like dealing with the 3D and then the 5D and above. Well, Taurus would be like 2D, 3D, 4D, and Scorpio would be like 5D through 9. So like it's the mystical and the magical versus the physical, and because of our psyches, like that can play a part in, like, I don't know, like if you're, well, if you believe in magic and stuff like that, you could see a lot more of that going on, and tap into that and find a mixture and a way to help make that balance, find a balance with the material so that you have more fun with both. Or it could be that you experience a lot of like battles between spirituality and like grounded 3D reality. And there's going to be a lot of times when you will be questioning both of them, you know, in good ways and bad ways. It really depends on which way you approach it. If you take the evolved Taurus approach of like, let's face it head on without being a bull in the china shop, you probably get through most of it pretty easily. You just might observe that everyone else is a little busy and wrapped up into their own stuff, because Scorpio South Node is a strong one. It definitely dives deep into the psyche of the taboos. Like I said, it is the skeleton in the closet. Now, I'm definitely going to be doing other videos on the moons and stuff like that, but I think for right now, I am going to do some cards for each sign, and then I'm going to get off of here. Let's make sure I got enough battery life for this. Yeah, I got enough. All right. Let's see. Right now, we're still in Aquarius season, heading over to Pisces season. How do I want to do this? You know what? I'm going to start with Pisces, because Pisces is often last, and it is coming into Pisces season, so I'm going to let Pisces be first. And welcome to all you Pisces. I love you. My oldest son is a Pisces, so like, and he's on the cusp, so I love you Aquarians too. I'm just saying, I love you Pisces. All right, let's do a card for Pisces for this Taurus North Node, Scorpio South Node axis, and this will just maybe give you a little idea of something that you can either focus on or work on, or just a heads up that like this is an energy that will kind of be like intertwining with your next 18 months and stuff. Love the artwork on these cards. Thank you. Oh, you got two. All right. I guess I'll take them. And they both came up reversed, which is funny because I haven't done any reversals in this deck yet. But let's see. Number 18, which is the moon card, which is related to you, Pisces. No need to fear. Remember how powerful you are. And we have number 2, related to the High Priestess card. I wonder what will happen next. Ready to adventure. Precipice of change. Pause before action. I love that. I love her. I love her. The blue of her dress. Up in the corner, there's like this. There's this thing of water up here. It's like, and it's weird because it looks like a skull and crossbones, but the skull seems to. It's like got a wonky smile, like this. You know, it's like not scary at all. It's like silly. And the Cheshire Cat is behind her, smiling. And there's the white rabbit at. It's not a door. It looks like a shrine with a knight and a lion in there. And she's got her book. And there's another cat. Oh, you know what? I bet it's Dinah, right? Cheshire Cat and Dinah. The Cheshire Cat is almost like blended in with there. So Pisces, when I'm feeling like these energies, I want to say it's mostly like upright, but it feels like that the whole thing of like you want to take the lessons that you learn from your south node and then apply them and work towards the lessons you need to learn in the north node. And like it feels like a lot of this is like with no need to fear, and I wonder what will happen next. Like you want to focus on a theme of whenever you find yourself in worry, whether it's about like finances or relationships or health or anything like that, look for where you have faith. You know, instead of saying, "Oh, I know this really bad scenario is going to happen," say, "You know what? There are many good things that are going to happen. No matter if this scenario that my monkey mind is creating happens or not, there's going to be a lot of magic and a lot of things going through it." And then just be aware of like that other people are also going through big energies, and there might be some trickster energy on your side, but you can really get your own sweetness by journaling. That's what I'm going to say in that. And maybe going fishing or getting into archery. Like, but definitely, remember how powerful you are, and especially powerful in the sense of like your sweetness. Like you don't have to hide it from people. It's okay to have a big heart. All right, let's do Aries. Thank you, Eric, for a card for Aries. It just came back. It came out like it really like it fell out of there. And I'm gonna show you the card on the bottom. Shine bright like a candle, and I love it. Like, look, it's like the Van Gogh painting, and it says you will make it through this. And so I'm going to say similar advice for you. Let's just keep it simple. Like, whenever you find yourself in a fear or anxiety or like fight or flight mode or fawn, like, ask yourself where you feel good, where you feel comfortable, where you feel grounded. And because you're Aries and there's typically action in there, try to take actions that, well, I mean, like, follow your heart, Aries. That's what I'm going to say. Follow your heart. There are times when it will be good to sit down and just do something with your hands. There are some indigenous peoples that believe that that's how you can best deal with issues of the heart is through the hands, and that they're both very, very connected. So like crochet something, build something, play guitar, sing a song. You're going to be holding the microphone and stuff like that, right? Write something, do things like that. You can still take action without necessarily making it giant action, but don't hold yourself back on necessarily like. I mean, you're connected to the Fool card and the Emperor card, like, and sometimes even when you create a little bit of your fiery destruction, you create way for life. Just like when there's a forest fire, it actually makes room for new life, right? All right, we did Pisces and Aries, Taurus. It's gonna be an interesting year for you with the North Node in there, right? Probably a lot of lessons on all sides. But let's see if we can get a card for you. Some themes or things to think about for Taurus. Thank you. Wow, again. Why does this keep coming out? I'm gonna laugh if this keeps coming out. I've shuffled these cards pretty good too. I wonder what will happen next. Ready to adventure, precipice of change, pause before action. So again, which is so for you, Taurus, a similar theme as Pisces and Aries. Like, be ready for adventure. Don't just hold, like, Taurus can be very rigid and afraid, can be very agoraphobic. So can Scorpio about, like, trying new things. But really, like, get out there and do it, but also, pause before you jump into it. And for you, I'm going to show you the bottom card too, which is number 30. Law is not justice. Rules that are not fair. So a lot of the themes that you're going to be looking at are where you make rules that are not fair and where other people make rules that are not fair, and to see that like even if you can like beat someone over the head with law or rules or the way that things have always been done kind of shit doesn't make it justice, and vice versa, people with you, like, but be ready for, ask yourself what will happen next when you're challenged with something too, especially something that may challenge like ways that you used to be or ways that you have a challenge not being anymore, things like that. uh, you know stop and ask yourself questions, positive questions about it. What could happen next? What could I get out of this? Why am I doing this? Like, is this worth my time? Is this bringing me towards what I desire? You know? And if it's not, then it's probably, listen to your emotional GPS. If it doesn't make you feel all sunshiny and bubbly, it's probably not a direction that's going to bring you any sort of happiness. Even if you've been hurt in some way, like, it's probably not. All right, Gemini. Let's see what's going on for Gemini for this 18 months. I'm going to laugh if that one card keeps coming out. Like, it'd be like everybody's theme would be like, okay, I see it. Ooh. It's funny. So the card came out, and I haven't seen it, but on the split, law is not justice. So for you, Gemini, too, keep that in mind. What'd you get? Number 12, lead the way. Be a leader. Show others how it's done. You can help others. Good. And it's funny. I looked at this card when I was looking through them, and I was like, it reminds me of a card in a different deck I have that is covered in birds, and it's called Freedom, and it's about messages. This one, the card has at least one other animal that is not a bird, but like all the rest are birds in there, and they're like coming in. They're kind of like I did that video earlier about the woman that all the ducks ran to and stuff like that, and like. To me, Gemini, this shows me that you're likely going to be dealing with places, especially like, well, Gemini is about like those close personal relationships, sibling relationships, parental, romantic. Like the Sagittarius is about like wider stuff, like cousins, second cousins, uncles, aunts, things like that. But Taurus is most definitely about the family and definitely things to do with the mother. And like this to me feels like you're likely going to be getting in a lot of data, and you're going to have a lot of people like, I want this and I want that and I want this and I want that, and do you have more, or things like that. But it's also like you can be the example for people of how you want to be treated, of the moderation, of the consideration, of like healthy standards and things of that nature. But like be careful too though, because having a lot of people like chattering at you, giving you a whole lot of data, they can be the ones, like, it can sometimes be our communities, especially our close personal communities, that can put fears and anxiety, they kind of keep us back in our box. Like, you can't do that, what if this bad thing happens? Or you can't do that with them, what if they're tricking you? Or you can't let them be that way with you, they're punking you, or whatever thing. When it's like, you know the answer that you want, whether it's be kind or stand up for yourself or go a different direction or do a thing. And you can have a lot of voices from other people coming in, and like sometimes you don't want to be in that black or white space that a lot of Geminis can, and a lot of Taurus and Scorpios can get into, where it's like all or nothing. Either you're always listening or you're never listening. No, like take in some feedback, but like definitely be careful with your vibrational diet over the next 18 months. Like make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that tell you good things about yourself, that remind you to think good things about yourself, and that don't focus on negativity of other people. Because if they're like, Gemini rules over gossip in many ways, and so it's like, think about it. If other people are talking shit about other people to you, that's how they are talking to other people about you. So like, watch your vibrational diet and watch your own level of integrity in that, and also be mindful of your dreams. All right, Cancers. Let's do a card for Cancer for this 18 months. Taurus Scorpio axis. Cancer is ruled by the moon, so I'd imagine you're probably going to feel this one fairly intensely, especially if you've been repeating any karmic cycles that have been holding you back for a long time. Even just in your mind, but like oftentimes what's in our minds manifests around us, right? Oh, we got there, huh? Okay, yeah, sucks up this one. It didn't quite fall out. It's like it peeked out, but it wanted me to grab it, which is an interesting synchronicity for me. I don't know if it matches for you. And what you got is the right way, learning to create what you desire. And I'm going to show you this on the bottom, Cancers. Nature, communication, flower energies, fairy energies, elemental messengers. Card number 37. And this one's 21, which is funny. That's related to the World card, right? And then 3, which is the Empress. Now, it looks like what I'm going to assume at this, especially with the froggy royalty and the crown and then the message and just the expressions on their faces and the colors, is like there's going to be a fair amount of communication for you, Cancer, over the next 18 months. And a fair amount of it is probably going to kind of be with what comes into my mind is the story of the frog prince, except for backwards. Like if we made it a prince who, let's say, instead of going looking for frogs to kiss to become a princess, he went and kissed a princess and she became a frog. And that feels like kind of the overarching lesson theme. Like maybe Cancer, you had and it doesn't have to be like the prince. It can be like whatever gender you feel attached to, apply it there, and whoever you feel attracted to, apply it there. But it feels like one of those to where you may have been like kissing princes and princesses, or have kissed one that definitely turned into a frog. Like it was an imposter, or an amphibious creature that could pretend to be all things, and maybe you missed, like, not missed your prince or princess or queen or king, but because you were being superficial in 3D, maybe you missed that one of them was sitting there talking to you and saying, "Hey, croak, ribbit, I'm right here. I'm right here. Just kiss me and I'll become the person that you want." But you were worried about what other people thought or what communications went on with that. And you were kind of in this, like, does it please the crown sort of thing, and being in, well, I mean, maybe sort of a pompous energy of your own. Some Cancerians can definitely do that. And so what it feels like is really work on your communication and step back and work on doing. This card obviously says the right way. Now, the right way can be subjective. What it feels like this card is saying for you, especially because it's about the moon axes, is like, what is the right way for you? Like, if your life does not feel fantastic, then you're not doing things the right way for you. Maybe you've been with people that you've been placating because it felt like it pleased your family or society, or some ego space in your mind where you felt like that was going to do things, but you're not happy and you don't feel like you're living your life to your fullest potential, or you feel like it's going to be forever before you can, or maybe you've got family things going on, or maybe there's skeletons in the closet with the situation. Not everything is what it appears and stuff. Like, you know what the right thing is for you, and if you have kids, like, what the right thing is for you with them. And so if there's communications that can happen that can help with that, then have them, but do it in the right way. Don't try, with Scorpio South Node, you could try to lie all you want. Even if you convince the other person, or if they believe you, it's going to come out that it was a deception. And that's going to cause other sorts of problems to continue to topple over. Like, that is part of the lesson in Scorpio South Node and Taurus North Node. Be authentic, have faith, be receptive to people loving you for your shadows as well as your light, and do the right thing for you. All right, let's do Leo. Leo. My little Joey is a Leo. I love him so much. Ooh, Curiouser and Curiouser, number 9, which is funny. That's a good relationship to the Hermit card. Discovery, inquiry, weirdness, and curiosity. And look at this on the bottom. Believe. Strange encounters. You know what? I'm going to say, my dear friend Leos, especially since your glyph is the lion, to let that curious cat out to play. There's definitely a lot more blue in this too. And, oh, interesting, the clock has a shadow. Look at it. At the top, the numbers have shadows and the thing has shadows. There's a mushroom in there and a weird hand that is not attached to anything. I'm going to say, you know what? Things may seem a little bit confusing for you, but be curious in those moments and believe that what your heart really desires is manifesting. Be open to any route to get there, any benevolent route to get there. All right, Virgo, let's do you. That shine bright like a candle almost was the one to pop out there. I was still laughing that, like, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus all got that same card. And, like, I'm wondering how that's connected. Maybe all Pisces, Aries, and Tauruses can let me know at some point. So you got, oh, this is funny. So the card you got is Such a Curious Dream, card number 45. Grounding, returning to reality, coming home. But on the bottom, look, shine bright like a candle. I told you it wanted to come out. You will make it through this. So that to me, Virgo speaks of have faith, have faith in what goes on, pay attention to your dreams, work on getting grounded, go out into earthy spaces or water spaces, whatever feels good to you. Allow yourself to kind of come home to yourself. And if you're waiting on anybody or thinking about returning to anybody, the answer is likely that either they are coming or they are available to you or soon will be. Keep your faith and listen to your dreams, the dreams you have when you sleep and the dreams in your heart. All right, Libra. Yeah, Virgo, Libra. Yeah, Libra. Thank you for Libra. Oh, what do I got? Okay. The Believe card almost wanted to come out with this, but this is interesting. You got the same as Cancer. Card number 21, the right way, and yours on the bottom. Interesting. So the right way, learning to create what you desire, and the card on the bottom for you is Falling, the unknown, present, momentum, and change. You know what's interesting? The way she's dressed reminds me almost more so of Peter Pan. Or even the Wicked Witch of the West, because look at her stockings, right? Like, she definitely doesn't, she definitely looks more like an Alice sort, because she is Alice, but it's an interesting mixture, right? Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Wicked Witch of the West. So I'm going to assume, Libra, that there's probably some relationship stuff going on for you, which probably isn't new for you. And I mean, look, the house and the bedroom, right? So I'm just going to give you the same message as Cancer is like, take the time to make sure you're doing things right for you. Taurus is very much a special, it's that self-love space. So you've got that space right now. There are other times when it is like you're putting too much into yourself, give more to the collective or give more to the relationship, things like that. Right now, focus on what is the right way for you, especially in communications. All right, Scorpio. It's your south node right now. You're probably going to feel it fairly intensely too. And you had a card come right up. Wow. Huh. Becoming braver. Number 5. Resilience, experience, growing stronger, fresh perspective. You know, it's funny. I felt like seeing what was on the split, and look at this. Card number 41. Forget who you are. Conditioning falls away. Memory no longer defines you. I love how it's got a deer that really, really looks like Bambi in there. She almost got like a fire behind her, right? It's maybe it's more of a sunset or sunrise or something like that, but it looks like fire behind her. And then on the bottom, you have that same Believe card that we saw a minute ago. So becoming braver. So Scorpio, like for you, and I'm gonna say anyone also who like has the same South Node axis like me, like allow old conditioning to fall away. Look for where it is, and then look for how you can just like allow it to fall away, and lean into that Taurus energy, which Taurus energy is a lot of times about becoming braver. And like, it feels like you're going to have a lot of fresh perspectives if you're open to them. So please remain open to those, Scorpio. All right, Sagittarians. Remember, you can apply the sun, moon, rising, your own north node, south node, whatever way you want to look at it. We have options around here. All right, Sag, for this 18 months, Taurus, Scorpio, noodle, more lunar cycles. I'm gonna laugh if that card comes back out, but we'll see. Oh, you got 3, and you know what? I'm gonna give it to you. And on the bottom, you have card number 40, keeping up immense effort and advance. So like there'll be some efforting to a degree, but it's your job to alchemize it into ease. So the cards that you got, oh, wow, look at this. You got the right way, learning to create what you desire. So like Cancer and I believe Libra, all must have prizes, trying to please everyone. Be careful of that. And number 16, a moment's regret, nostalgia, idolizing the past, fearing you've made a mistake. So definitely, like, your themes are going to be looking at it, like probably more so looking at, whereas the other signs, it felt more like, are you doing things right now, like not so much a focus on the past per se, other than if you've not been making choices that you felt like were wrong. It feels like for you, Sagittarius, this is one of those really taking a look at how you have been codependent and what sort of choices that you have made with that can spring up regrets, and like really look at those and look for ways to alchemize them. You don't want to sit with regret energy, but it's okay to have moments where you realize that you wish that you'd made better choices. But also, don't be so stubborn that if you realize that you made a mistake or you could have done things better, that you contributed to like circumstances that were not favorable, like you could be a mature person and re-enter that and like be the example, be the light, be the. I mean, Sagittarius is all about philosophy and spirituality and stuff. Like, you don't have to stay in the conditioning of your past. You don't have to be in a stubborn place. You don't have to be codependent. You can, and not everybody's going to like you. You're not cake, you're not pizza, and that's okay. You're not for everybody. You're not meant to be for everybody, and not everybody is meant to be for you. All right, Capricorns, fellow Capricorns. Let's get our card, right? Oh, okay. That was weird. It almost wanted. Well, I'm gonna take it because I ended up pulling it out. It's funny. It almost reminded me of the Cancer one. It's like it was there, and it's like me, but you gotta come and get me, and maybe not. Which is funny because the card is number 6, choices, feeling blocked and restrained, right? Which is interesting to have that mixed in there, like you would think choices, like for my first thought is ooh, choices, but there are times, like think of the 2 of Swords kind of thing there, and even the 2 of Wands, it's like you got choices to make, and sometimes it does, you might feel blocked or restrained, and that's the moment when you lean into your heart. We Capricorns can often lean into the physical world very easily. We can be very Queen or King of Pentacles and be like, no, I can drag this whole island along with me, kind of thing, and we can, but we don't need to. And especially with Taurus in the North Node, that's part of the lesson. And so lean into your heart a little bit more. Um, you don't have to see everything right in front of you. And what's interesting too, like number 44 is on the bottom. You can't go back to yesterday. Be in the present. Which does not, like, if you've got somebody from your past that you've been thinking about and stuff, like, remember, you can't go back to what you had with them before, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a new beginning with them, or communities or families or people or things like that. Like, so, because Capricorns we're kind of naturally skeptical, and that can lead to cynicism, or we try to lean into the logical and the practical, and that can take away from the beautiful things in the world. You know what I mean? And like, can't go back to yesterday is also one of those, like, just because somebody hurt you in the past does not mean that they're necessarily going to hurt you again in the future, or that new people are going to. So like, be in this present moment, especially when you find yourself with choices, and especially if those choices feel like they're restraining you or blocking you. Like, find the way to feel open, and then the path will open and be much more effortless. All right, Aquarius, you get to be last today. I know you're used to being second last. Oh, goodness sakes. That just, like, fell out. I'm not going to do all of those cards. Wow, that's a lot of cards. But you know what? I'm going to show you where they split. Forget who you are. Conditioning falls away. Memory no longer defines you. So that's definitely part of your theme. Let's pull you another card, Aquarius. I'm gonna laugh at that card that I just saw comes out again. You know what's funny, actually, what I'm going to say is the card that I saw that didn't come out but was definitely clear was don't drink the poison. And the image that came through my mind is actually a message for all signs. So kudos for those of you that just watched this whole video. Is like, yeah, see, here it popped out again. I don't know that it's your card specifically, Aquarius. I think it's a card for everybody. Do not do things you know are bad for you. And it's one of those too, like, just because it feels like safer being with the collective than standing alone, like, don't drink the Kool-Aid, you know? And that's any collective. I don't care what side of whatever political spectrum you're on, or family spectrum, or whatever thing. Like, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Not over these next 18 months, anyways. But alright. Come on, let's give Aquarius a card. And I definitely, because it came up in that one, I'd say be careful in there, because you are Aquarius, ruler of the collective. And very much related to the Hierophant card. Thank you for a card for... Alright. I got you. You get 2. 3, I guess. It's funny, you and such. Okay, so I'm going to show you on the bottom first, because this is interesting. Card number 29. Find the lesson. Discover the purpose in a situation and trust that you are learning. Which is good. That's a good bit of advice for any Aquarian, because learning is definitely almost like soothing in that sense. So even if it feels like you're repeating a failure or something, remember that you are learning something. You might be going, when we get back into retrograde season and eclipse season, it might feel like you're going backwards into certain things. You're not. You're learning things that maybe you missed the last time. Okay. Now the cards you got, number 17, growing up, wanting to grow in experience, and rejection of perpetual youth. That cat looks so crazy. That looks like a gremlin. Card number 39, uncertainty. Choose who you will become. And card number 40, immense effort in advance, which we saw in Sag's underlying card. So what I'm seeing in this Aquarius, and it's funny because I've always noticed there's several types of Aquarians, and some of you can kind of be the perpetual hippie, childlike thing like that. I know I have some of that with both my midhaven is in Aquarius, and my sun sign actually, I want to say graduated, it progressed into Aquarius, so I'm in a lot more Aquarian energy in that. And it can feel like it's like both the individual hippie and the collective fascist in some ways, you know what I mean? And it can be like a deep dive into mermaid seas, or it can be very dry, logical swords energy, just like, no, if it's not right in front of me and all my senses can't perceive it, it's not there. Like, you can be in either one, so be careful of that. And recognize that, like, I don't care what age you are, you could be 90, you're still growing up, okay? Like, there's still space to grow up. And even being in a space where you're always thinking about, like, adult stuff, it can be like these seagulls, like, just because you want to be adult and you want to get things done, like, you could be being a perpetual child in being so black and white about things like that, or splitting, or never letting yourself have fun. So think about that in there. And when you find yourself in times of uncertainty, which happen a lot with the Scorpio South Node, choose who you want to become. There's not always an answer available for you. There's not always going to be a book or a teacher or a guide or somebody that's like, this is what you need to do. And even there's often times when you could ask everybody and they all give you the same answer, or they give you various answers and none of them feel right for you. Choose who you will become. And then just remember to put in the effort. I think that's what that one means for y'all Aquarians. All right, everybody. These seagulls are telling me it is time to wrap up this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.